Alright, after many months of promising, I'm finally getting this damn e-bike out. So super simple, we're taking my Emmo E-Wild C2 on a little stealth camp on a spot that I was scouting out. Brand new spot, haven't camped there before. Anyways, let's get there. Late spring, couldn't have picked a better day to come out here and reattempt this stealth packing overnighter. The first time I came out and tried this, man, it was not very nice weather conditions at all. It was gonna rain, it was super windy, super overcast. The entrance to my stealth camp is currently occupied, so I'm gonna have to chill for a minute and wait for them to clear out. But couldn't ask for a better view. And there's a big mass of all of the shrubs and trees and stuff, and then on the other side is some houses and stuff, and in between it's all just city-owned land. This is an Emmo E-Wild C2 with the max battery. It's the 1200 watt-hour battery, and this is my new e-bike bikepacking bike. It is a massive step change from that Super 73 that I was using before. I've actually got front shocks now. It's a full-size bike. I think it's a 26-inch diameter wheel. So it's a full-size wheel. The only proper piece of bike packing equipment I have is the rear pannier bags. Everything else is just kind of janky and stitched together. The front bar bag, if you want to call it that, is just an old bag I had lying around that happens to be able to attach to the handlebars. And as you can see, it's drooping something fierce. If it wasn't for the front fender on my wheel, it would be dragging on the tire. And then the backpack I'm wearing is the most beautiful color you could pick for stealth camping, in a nice fluorescent orange, you know, really hides you in the bush, you know what I mean? I will replace it with a proper olive drab bag in the near future to kind of get a cohesive color scheme going. Green on white, that's what I'm aiming for. And on that note, it looks like the people that were covering up my Ingress point have left. So let's go sneak on into this here bush. Now there is a bit of a trail over here that we're going to make use of. Wind our way in through here before anybody comes investigating. I didn't bring any bug spray, but it looks like the bugs are starting to be out and about, so hopefully that doesn't work to my disadvantage. Okay, here we are. This is where home is going to be for the night. So we are nice and isolated from the trail, which is over that way. It is nice in here. So I came in through this clearing and we'll sneak out a little bit here. You can see just through the bushes there's someone's house over there, and where I am blocked from line of sight, which is good. That's one of the only two risks that I have with this spot. So that first one is being seen by someone from those houses over there, and the second one is, you know, there's a bit of a trail that came in from where I came into this area, so it seems like people actually do come in here. So there's also a risk of discovery, so hopefully that doesn't happen. So I'm not going to do a complete breakdown of how I have everything all set up, because I'll do a separate video for that. But basically, most of my gear is split between these two pannier bags with my sleeping pad on top, and my water bottle's kind of stuck in these side pockets here. Now, I'm really not a fan of the solution I came up with for these water bottles, because they jut out to the side. They're just asking to get caught on stuff and get pulled out, especially with the water bottle so high. But it was the only way I could figure out how to carry my normal water load out with me. Get that off. And because there's no wind in here, it's basically t-shirt weather. I don't really want to take my sweater off though, because I didn't pack sunscreen, and it is a bright sunny day right now, even though it's only the beginning of May. If I take this off, I'm gonna get fried. I have no sun exposure yet this year. So I will say that the one benefit to having all the gear back here, although it does make it insanely rear heavy and kind of makes the riding dynamics a little weird, especially mounting and dismounting. Having all the weight on the rear, that's where the motor is, so it gives me some better traction, which I do appreciate. One thing I don't like is that these straps kind of dangle, and if I don't tuck them in places, they get stuck in the wheel and start rubbing. I have everything packed in here, and I haven't used this setup yet, so I have no idea what I did with anything. One of these contains my sleeping bag. I think it's this one because I could feel the mass of it in there. So I think my tent is in here. One of the other things I don't like about this setup is that the lid for this only connects with a Velcro strip around the outer perimeter, which will wear and eventually become useless, and a set of buckles. So I make a point to not stick anything in these main compartments that's small, that'll easily bounce out and get lost. I have a bunch of zippered compartments around, so that's a benefit, but yeah, so here's the tent. Same one I always use, little single one-man. I think I'm gonna relax for a bit before I bother to get the tent set up, just in case someone comes wandering through here. I'll just say I stopped for lunch or something. Oh, what the hell. We'll risk a little bit of sunburn. It's later in the day, sun's not as intense. So it is actually pretty toasty right now. It is 22 degrees Celsius, which is more than what it said it was going to be, but that's what seems to happen. But it's that time of year where the temperature between the day and the night is like a huge, massive difference. It's going to get down to 6 degrees tonight. Feels like 3. I brought my cold weather sleeping bag, so no worries there. But that's why I brought my coat and everything, because we're all summer mode right now, t-shirt weather. But tomorrow morning it's going to be pretty chilly. As I'm sitting here chilling, I noticed that the chain popped off the front sprocket again. That seems to be a very common problem with this bike. This bike was not cheap. It was a couple thousand. It certainly doesn't act like it. It feels very like rickety. It is covered under warranty, so we'll see what happens. But I definitely want to do some shakedown trips with it first. As you saw, if you did watch the range test, the quick disconnect on the front wheel, that was super loose, and I was one bad bump away from that wheel flying off. I definitely don't want to take it out on some crazy expedition before I have a chance to actually beat the crap out of it on some shorter range stuff and know that it's not going to fall apart on me. Because if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that is something that tends to happen quite frequently. Alright, chilled out for a while, I don't know, about an hour. To the point that the ambient temperature actually seems like it's going down a little bit. Starting that slow, steady creep down to almost freezing tonight. I think it's time to get this tent set up. I'll check the weather again just to double check, but when I was logging the weather leading up to this little overnighter here, the weather was remaining free and clear of any precipitation, so I don't think that I'm going to put my tarp over top of my tent. I think I'm just going to run the tent open air. So those of you who have been watching for a while already know this, but if you're new, I've been using 3D printed tent pegs for my backpacking kit. A whole mishmash of different materials. The white one's PLA, the black ones are nylon, the gray ones are ASA, the green one's ABS, and yeah, they're all actually holding up pretty well. Now mind you, I'm not using them like every night like a long distance backpacker, but you know, I've had most of these for a few seasons now. What I like about this stealth campsite is the earth is nice and soft, which means these tent pegs go in super easily. Oh yeah. Oh, no issue whatsoever there. There's a lot of, especially like public campgrounds, all the ground is like tamped down super hard and you can barely get a freaking tent peg in there unless it's like a nail peg. Our tent is all set up. Again, if you have watched any of my previous camping videos, you are probably already intimately familiar with this tent. But for those of you who are new, it's just a bivvy style tent, one-man tent. You can't even sit up in it. I mean, just look at the height of it compared to the bike past it. It's pretty short. which does have the benefit of it sitting really low to the ground, so it is really, really good for stealth camping. Very, very hard to spot, especially when it's black. All right, so it comes up to, at the tallest point, basically where my nuts are. So it's not a very tall tent, but I've used this thing quite a few times, stealth camped with it quite a few times. I just locked my bike to the tree. I mean, I really doubt someone's gonna wander into the woods and steal my bike with me camped right there and me not notice, but it gives me peace of mind. But there's also another actually practical reason. It keeps it against the tree so that if, for whatever reason, there's a big gust of wind, this whole heavy ass bike is not collapsing onto the tent. So 2 birds, 1 stone. I do believe it is time to get ourselves something to eat. Of course, being the first time using the setup, I don't remember where half of this crap is. So I know I'll need that. So that's it's got my battery bank and stuff in it, so I'll keep that by the entrance of the tent. So one of the things that I try to do is use as much 3D printed gear on my trips as possible. And in this circumstance, one of them is a little fold-up stand that holds the gas canister in place, and that makes it so that it's a lot more stable when it's sitting on something like grass like this. So with the tall cooking pot on it, it's a lot harder to topple over. Unfold my little gas stove. Hope the O-ring on it's okay, because it probably needs some oil in there soon. Take the cap off the gas. This has to be cranked all the way to the right to make sure that the valve's closed. And then we just line that up with the threads. Twist, 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 twist. And there we go. Now we got the stove on the gas. We get the legs on, and we clear away any stuff that, you know, is getting in the way. And we just sit that right down there like that. Let's try and get it a little flatter. Fill this up about halfway with water. We're gonna cook some noodles. Oh man, I think I'm getting bitten by ants. My leg's burning and itching here. Grab my lighter, and we're just gonna open that up. And there we go. Let that come to a boil, and we'll stick the noodles in there. But I can't sit where I'm sitting, so I got ants, like a million ants crawling all over me, and I can feel myself getting bit. So I think I'm sitting on the anthill. We're boiling. It's only been a couple minutes. That's how fast this is. So, and we remove the lid and find a nice place to set this down, which admittedly is a little bit difficult. Put our noodles in. We'll just mix the all the seasoning around in there and put the lid back on, let that sit for a minute. But I found something interesting. I moved all my stuff, and there's some stuff over here. It looks like rabbit scat or something. Let that sit for a minute, and now it is time to enjoy the fruits of my labor. This little al dente could probably afford to sit in there for a little while longer, but I am hungry. And it's actually starting to chill out quite considerably. I'm no longer sweating balls just sitting here. I gotta put my sweater back on. I do have one cool thing I want to talk about though. You might have seen me posting about it, but I wrote a novel. So I finished the first draft like months ago, and I've just been grinding super hard on the edits. And as of 2 nights ago, I actually sent out my first query to an agent. And yeah, I'm just pushing really hard to get a novel published. Food in me, dishes are done. All I gotta do is take care of some last minute bedding setup for the inside of my tent, and then that's basically it, except for brushing my teeth in a bit. This entire side compartment is just filled with my sleeping bag. Oh, there we go. Ta-da! And we just beat it a little bit, let that insulation waft up. Ants are crawling on this. this. We'll just slide you right on in there. Ah. And I will be in there to join it within the hour, I think. You can see all of the green growth just starting to sprout up. And it's basically carpeting the floor in here. I think this is one of those campsites that's really only accessible winter through spring, because once summer hits and all this growth shoots up, I think it's going to be quite a bit of a gnarly mess to get back here. It's getting down to 6 degrees, it said. It might drop a little bit colder, who knows. The e-bike will be cold soaking outside all night. So first thing in the morning, it's probably going to be a little bit sluggish. I've barely used any range kit here. There's still lots of charge left in there for the hop, skip, and a jump to get home. So I went exploring off in this direction, and I came across an interesting little trail that runs through here. You can see it right here, running off into the woods there, and there's what looks like prints in it. And so I took a look. This is the clearest one here. If I'm not mistaken, that's a deer. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to prints, but yeah, it looks like a deer print to me. It's pretty big. It's about the size of my palm. If I hear some crashing and stomping in the middle of the night, I guess I know it's a deer. Rule of the woods: if it sounds like a bear, it's a deer. If it sounds like a deer, it's a squirrel. If it sounds like a squirrel, it's a mouse. If it sounds like a mouse, it's spindle shank. Always important to brush your teeth. And also flossing. Sun is just starting to set. You can see it going down behind my head here. So far, not to jinx it, but so far so good. We'll see if we get through the overnight and then the Exfil in the morning without any issues. So hopefully it goes off without a hitch. I do believe I'm going to retire inside of the tent. That way it keeps me away from the bugs, and I can lie down and not have to worry about getting murdered by ants, which they've been biting. My legs have been feeling the heat, literally and metaphorically. Spread that out. Right down the center. Beat the crap out of this to make sure there's no ants on it whatsoever. And now I go in. Feel like a bit like a dog in a doghouse when I do this. When I first got this tent, it was a little claustrophobic in here, but through practice, kind of learned to live with it. Despite how cramped it is in here, I actually do have enough room to do everything I need to do. Along the right here is normally where I put everything, like my phone, my wallet. My shoes go further down towards the end there. And then I have my charger over here in the corner. You can just see it. And that's where my phone will go and charge. I'm just a little bit more stuck closer to this wall, because if I go any further over this way, I slide down a little hill and ram into the other wall. So yeah, gotta be very particular with how I lie tonight. Alright, so as you can tell, the light is starting to fade away. I'm actually dozing off, all tucked away in my sleeping bag here. So I think this is where we'll call her for the night, and I will let you guys know if something happens through the night or if I pull through to morning. Night, guys. Morning, guys. Yep, true to its word,
and got pretty damn chilly overnight. Let's see if I can see what temperature it is. The Weather Network says it's 8 degrees, but I don't know how accurate that is. It was plenty warm even this morning, but my back's all twisted around with the muscles and stuff. Last night at about 9:15, I started hearing all kinds of like pitter-pattering around the tent, in the grass and stuff around me. So I think it was like frogs. Now comes the hard part. Oh, on a cold morning, I hate this part. Alright. Oh yeah, those shoes are cold. It's the worst feeling in the morning, isn't it? Putting on cold shoes. Alright guys, I won't subject you to the whole process of getting this all packed down. So let me do that and I will catch back up with you. What's the first thing you think of when you see the back of this backpack? Don't lie to me. Don't even need the multi-tool to pull this in. Yeah, this particular blue one is actually glow in the dark. I look up from getting all packed up here, and I just saw a little, looked like a young deer, just walk right through over there. Yeah, so I guess I was right. There are deer in this area. I didn't hear anything last night. All packed up. What time is it? It is 6:41 in the morning. Man, I was up early. It was like 5:30 when I crawled out of the tent. Time for the final phase, the exfiltration. All right, back out to the trail. No one saw me. So I get out to the trailhead, and I go to reach into my pocket to pull out my GoPro to record a clip, and I realize I don't have my GoPro in my pocket. I'm like, oh no. So I just spent, thankfully, only 5 minutes backtracking, trying to find it. It was only like 20 feet into the woods there, but oh, that would have sucked if I had lost all that footage, lost my GoPro. So aside from freaking out about almost losing my GoPro, the only other issue we're dealing with this morning is just this chain. It keeps wanting to come off. I don't really use the pedals. I buy all my electric rideables just to use the throttle, so I just don't want it rubbing up against the tire. I can already see where it's been rubbing up against it. You can see the kenda has started to rub off, and that's just because that's where the chain was making contact with it. Yeah, a few kilometers like that, and goodbye sidewall. Let's make sure that this thing actually turns on. Well, that's another successful, thankfully, stealth camping trip in the books. Thanks for watching, guys. It was good to get this bike out and actually do something with it after having it for months. And doing stuff like this is exactly what I get up to on Mike in the Woods. I take PEVs of all kinds, from normal ones like e-bikes all the way to some really wacky ones, and do backpacking and camping. So make sure you subscribe if you're into that shit.